Chapter 21, The Flipping Hot Pot Disaster. The teacher in charge, Chai Yifeng, appeared in Zutui's mental image. It was not a particularly disgusting scene. It was just that Chai Yifeng's actions were a little gross. The first scene Zutui sensed in the cubicle was that Chai Yifeng seemed to be eating something. Chai Yifeng seemed to have stuffed something in his mouth and was chewing on it. Zutui could not detect what exactly was in his mouth. However, the scene was not only gross, but it was also a little strange. Was eating in the toilet one of Chai Yifeng's fetishes? Then, Chai Yifeng started to urinate. A few seconds later, he walked out of the cubicle. Something strange was going on, however, Chai Yifeng soon left the radius of Zutui's mental senses. Zutui turned around and used his mental senses to investigate the cubicle Chai Yifeng had used. He did not find anything. Everything could not look more normal. Chai Yifeng had entered a cubicle but did not poo. That was a little unusual. However, many ordinary people also went straight into a cubicle to urinate. That was not strange. However, entering the cubicle to urinate was not the only suspicious act Chai Yifeng did just now. He ran into the cubicle immediately after getting off the bus, not to urinate, but to eat something. He also looked nervous when he was leaving the cubicle. He urinated but did not take a dump after entering the cubicle. All of these actions combined made Zutui incredibly suspicious. If this had been Zutui before he had been through the stalking and the incident at the bubble tea store, he would not have cared about this situation. He would not even look a second longer. A person must be sick to want to see another man taking a dump. However, the Zutui who had become more mature after the stalking and the bubble tea store incidents was different. There was bound to be a deeper reason behind actions that seemed to not follow any logic. Zutui learned that from all the detective and crime dramas he had watched in the past. Of course, he could not make any conclusions just based on the things he had observed. Zutui did not want to cause trouble for himself. However, it did not prevent Zutui from paying more attention to Chai Yifeng. Zutui took advantage of the 10-minute rest time. He observed the fleet of buses. At this moment, there were a total of 12 buses at the supply stop, and there were 13 escort vehicles. There were 6 security guards in military gear in every escort vehicle. Along with the 2 security guards in every bus, the number of security guards protecting this fleet of vehicles totaled 102. He did not include the teachers accompanying the students in the buses. These teachers were all genetic liberators at the very least. However, Zutui did not know if the other buses also had 2 teachers or if they only had 1. However, this security regiment was powerful enough. It made Zutui feel much less worried. During the break, Zutui nonchalantly walked past Chai Yifeng's back multiple times with Cheng Mo but did not notice anything strange. 10 minutes later, everyone got onto the bus and prepared to set off once again. Zutui realized that Professor and Zhao Soxui had not gotten off the bus just now. Could the bladder capacity of a professor be different from that of an ordinary person? Sometime into the journey, Zutui realized why and Zhao Soxui did not get off the bus. After relieving themselves, the group of students started to drink water. Mineral water was supplied for free on the bus. There was also a bottle of water in front of Zhao Soxui. She had gotten a bottle when she got onto the bus at the start of the journey. However, the water level in her bottle had only dropped by roughly 2 inches. And Zhao Soxui had only taken a sip to wet her lips. She was not like Cheng Mo, who drank half a bottle of water at one go. However, Chai Yifeng had not acted strangely ever since he got onto the bus. He was calm. However, Chai Yifeng's mental state seemed a little more nervous than the mental auras released by the other students in Zutui's mental senses. It might be because of his responsibilities as a teacher in charge. After the break, the 30 students became clearly more relaxed. The atmosphere in the bus became more active. There were the sounds of chewing. Even though they had only been on the road for 3 hours since they got onto the bus, more than 4 hours had passed from when they first reported to their meeting point. Many of the students had become hungry. They started to eat and drink. The bus provided snacks like biscuits. However, most of the students had brought along delicious food that their parents had prepared. Everyone had different tastes. The combination of the various scents was rather stimulating. Fortunately, There were no students who loved smelly tofu or durian. Otherwise, this group of students would have to sit through hell. Teenagers made friends easily, especially Cheng Mo, who had an approachable personality. Furthermore, he had brought along a wide variety of food at substantial volumes. Cheng Mo was also generous. Cheng Mo, who had been eating along just now, soon gathered a bunch of people to eat with him. Everyone brought out their food to share. It was also their way of getting to know each other beforehand. It would have become a party if they had some beer and were allowed to shout. Zhu Tui also had to bring something out. There were fragrant sauced beef, glistening braised pork knuckles, and crunchy marinated cucumbers. Finally, Zhu Tui took out his soybeans and began giving them out to the other students. "Hey, my mom roasted these herself. They're crunchy and fragrant. You can use them as a snack for the journey. Try some." Thief male student Gong Ling displayed her hesitation and worry. She was clearly a little worried about a certain bodily function that would happen after consuming soybeans, especially since they were on a long journey. "It's fine, just eat less of them. Try a little." Zhu Tui was very passionate. After passing them around, most of the students in the bus had gotten a few soybeans. "Cha, do you want some?" Zhu Tui snickered. "No, thank you." Cha Yifeng declined immediately. "Professor An, do you want some?" And Zhao Saxui shook her head. Zhu Tui and Cheng Mo had created a jovial atmosphere with the picnic they shared with other students. Most of the students now naturally had a rift with Tong Shi, Himing Kakshuan, and the rest of the students who had mocked them just now. Zhu Tun and Cheng Mo did not entertain them. The side where they were at felt a little cold. The feeling of being isolated was not good. Himing Kakshuan could not take it anymore. He immediately retrieved his bag from the luggage compartment and took out a large box. "Here, friends, there's one for each of you. My mom was busy, and I love hot pot, so I prepared a few self-heating hot pots. I have all kinds of flavors. Choose them yourselves." Himing Kakshuan had brought along 6 to 7 portions of self-heating hot pots to act as his meal for the 2 days on the road. However, he acted very passionately at the moment to not be left out from the gathering. He gave away 3 boxes in the blink of an eye. "Cha, do you want some?" "No, thank you." Cha Yifeng refused as usual. "Missin, what about you? Do you want tone?" "No, thank you." And Zhao Saxui also refused the goodwill. The students tore apart the packaging and poured in water. A few minutes later, the self-heating hot pots started to steam and release an intense aroma, especially the numbing and spicy flavored ones. They did not know how flavorful the food was yet, but the aroma was both spicy and numbing. "Wow, the kick is there. It feels great eating this." Himing Kakshuan deliberately promoted his food loudly. He had every intention to boast. A few students who loved spicy food swallowed when they saw Himing Kakshuan eat. Himing Kakshuan, who was now sweating from the food, stood at the middle of the seats and started eating large mouthfuls of food while looking in the direction of Cheng Mo and the rest of the students. He let out praise with every mouthful of food he took. Many students became displeased when they saw how Himing Kakshuan was acting. "It's merely a self-heating hot pot. Did he have to do this? Hey, Ming Kakshuan, be careful. You are standing up when the bus is still moving at high speeds. Be careful that you spill your self-heating hot pot. It will not be good if you scald yourself." Zhu Tui suddenly reminded. Himing Kakshuan disregarded him. "How is that possible? The genetic base points I activated are a general combination of power and speed. My hands have now become incredibly stable." Himing Kakshuan suddenly lost balance while he was in the middle of boasting. The self-heating hot pot in his hand suddenly tilted back toward him. Himing Kakshuan dodged instinctively. However, he had been in the middle of boasting and did not expect to lose his balance. He was too slow in avoiding the spilling hot pot. The red, oily soup of the hot pot splattered toward Himing Kakshuan's chest. Not much of the soup landed on his chest. Most of it fell onto his shoes. Himing Kakshuan had worn a pair of white shoes to show them off today. Then, the color of the shoes changed. It was dyed with the red and oily soup. He even had a pair of green peppercorns dangling in front of his chest. Himing Kakshuan was dumbfounded. He was a little confused. The soup was not scalding. The heating capabilities of a self-heating hot pot did not last long. The temperature of the soup would decrease continuously once an individual started to eat. However, what was he going to do about his drenched shirt, pants, shoes, socks, and underwear? Even worse, his clothes and shoes were in his bigger luggage, which was stored in the storage cabin of the bus. He could not retrieve his luggage and change his clothes if the bus would not stop. The corner of Himing-Kakshin's lips twitched. He looked toward Zutui, who had reminded him earlier. You. Zutui sighed. Himing-Kakshin, I've already reminded you just now, but you are still so careless. Clean that up quickly. Do you need a napkin? Zutui said. The students on the bus froze. Zutui's words were too prophetic. He had just reminded Himing-Kakshin when an accident happened. However, it was because Himing-Kakshin had been too showy just now. He was only eating a self-heating hot pot just now. Did he have to be that exaggerated? He was standing in between the seats. An accident happened. He deserved it. Himing-Kakshin even looked like he was about to blame Zutui, who had reminded him to be careful just now. He did not seem like a decent person. They had to be more careful when interacting with this student in the future. Many of the more intelligent students immediately made mental notes. They could be friends with Zutun and Cheng Mo. They had to be careful when interacting with Himing-Kakshin. While the attention of everyone in the bus was on Himing-Kakshin's body, the gaze of the female researcher and Zhao Soxui had moved to the armrest of the seat beside Himing-Kakshin. There was a small soybean there. There was a little red oil on the soybean. It must have come into contact with the oil when it hit the self-heating hot pot just now. After glancing at the haggard Himing-Kakshin, and Zhao Soxui looked up toward the smiling Zutui. This lad sure remembers his grievances. Even though Zhao Soxui had not seen it just now, she had heard the sound of something slicing through the air amidst the noisy chatter of the students. The source of that sound had started where Zutui was and ended at Himing-Kakshin's self-heating hot pot. The situation was clear as day. Zutui was the one who flipped over Himing-Kakshin's self-heating hot pot with a soybean. However, even though she knew the truth, and Zhao Soxui did not have any evidence. At this moment, many students had soybeans in their hands. This Zutui is very cautious when he does things, and Zhao Soxui concluded. However, Zhao Soxui would not expose Zutui even if she had the evidence. She did not particularly like Himing-Kakshin either. He was not worth her sympathy. Himing-Kakshin, clean up the floor. And Zhao Xu's soft words helped Zutui add insult to the injury. Himing-Kakshin had a bitter expression. He scanned the bus. No one offered to help him. The students who had eaten his self-heating hot pot just now did not move either, especially Tong Qi. He was sitting closest to Himing-Kakshin, but he had no intention of helping him. Finally, a few of the female students felt sorry for him and helped him a little. Even so, Himing-Kakshin spent half an hour cleaning up the mess he created after spilling his self-heating hot pot. The entire bus smelled like hot pot. The smell was even stronger on Himing-Kakshin's body. The student sitting beside Himing-Kakshin disdainfully went to the back of the bus and sat with the security guard. Himing-Kakshin wanted to cry. Not far away, Zutui, who had eaten his fill, placed soybean after soybean into his mouth. He bit into the beans. Crunch, fragrant. After a satisfying meal, coupled with the fatigue from the travel, many of the students started to sleep. Time passed quickly during their nap. Zutui also closed his eyes. However, he left behind a little bit of his consciousness to pay attention to Cha Yifeng. However, there was nothing strange with Cha Yifeng. Suddenly, Cha Yifeng's voice rang out again. Students, wake up. We have reached the second supply stop. Not only can you use the toilet at this supply stop, but meals are also provided here. You guys have a total of 15 minutes. We'll not wait for you if you are late. Cha Yifeng pulled the bus door open after he spoke and was the first to get off the bus. Himing-Kakshin, who had been tolerating his circumstances the entire journey, was the second to bolt down the bus. He immediately sprinted for the storage cabin. Zutui pulled on Cheng Mo, who was still eating, and brought him along as he followed closely behind Cha Yifeng.